Mangaka! Hello, I am the many-talented Mr. Jefferson, and I do indeed have many talents. But I don't feel like art is one of those talents. I do have a fascination with art tools, and I just found a pretty interesting one at just the right moment in time because that art tool is mangaka. I don't know how to pronounce that correctly, and I happen to know a group of people collectively sharing a single brain cell among them who just started drawing a comic called The Adventures of Arenator and Emilio. It's a real banger too, so I decided to use it as a basis for trying out this new tool I found. Mangaka is not particularly easy to figure out, especially since I don't actually have any kind of a art background, but there are some tutorials provided by the developer, and I found some other YouTube tutorials, and I managed to piece together enough of the controls to meet my current needs, though I cannot stress enough, I still have absolutely no idea what I'm doing. But that's the learning process, isn't it? And I'm taking that learning curve to mean that this is a program that has some decent level of complexity to it, which is a very good thing. In the store, Mangaka is described as a tool that helps artists who use line art in their work, be it as a reference, guidelines, or even as final renders, to help them save time in production and speed up workflow, and all rendered images can be used for commercial purposes such as comics, illustrations, storyboards, and more. So what this seems to be is a tool in a process. It is not necessarily meant to produce a final result. Luckily, I recently watched a YouTube video called Vince Coletta, the inker who ruined Jack Kirby's art, where he clearly describes that Jack Kirby, as the illustrator, would draw the scenes and Vince would ink the page to embellish the pencil artwork and make it print ready, and it gives insights into the steps it takes to assemble a comic book. And that's what allowed me to realize that this is a program designed more around the middle steps of creating a scene to help with perspective, which allows you to pose mannequins and create scene references that are meant to be drawn over later. In my examples, I employed the absolutely amazing and professional Paint 3D to add in embellishments like colors and lettering, and you can't get this baby anymore. Also, that was a joke just now. Paint 3D is a very basic drawing application that I use for quick and dirty editing. Please do not seriously try to use it for anything unless you want your art to look like it was made by a toddler. Which I did. As you can see, I've used my 3 whole hours of experience with mangaka to shamelessly plagiarize the original comic, using those panels as storyboards and transforming them into templates that can be passed on to an artist who would draw over the guidelines to create the finished product. This is not an example of what this program can achieve. This is an example of what I have managed to do with not a whole lot of effort or experience. And I literally just saw Mangaka in the Steam store yesterday and bought it. And the comic I used as the storyboard has only existed for about 2 days at this point. And the people who actually drew it have no idea that I'm even working on this video, because one of them literally asked me 2 days ago what my next video was going to be, and I still hadn't even found the Mangaka program yet. One thing I do need to point out is some of the functionality of Mangaka is locked out and sold as DLC, but I personally don't have an issue with this because the base program is only $10 and the DLC does not seem to be excessive or expensive, and the big ticket DLC are really nice looking, and they're expansive prop libraries. I feel like I have barely scratched the surface of what this tool can actually do, but I'm really impressed with what I have seen, and I'm interested in playing around with it more, and it's something I might actually wind up using as part of my production process in the future if I start doing more elaborate videos or need animations. But for now, I'm happy I was able to figure out enough to take this absolute brain rot and transform it into terrible manga. I am the many-talented Mr. Jefferson, and when it comes to myself and art, the phrase monkeys and typewriters kind of comes to mind. So if I can figure out how to use Mangaka in less than 3 hours to translate storyboards into line art, imagine what someone who actually put some effort into what they're doing could accomplish. I want to thank my viewers, my subscribers, my channel members, and all of you who have sponsored my channel. I'll be back to tell you all about the cool games and interesting apps I find while browsing the Steam Store, like the metric ton of clicker idle games I suddenly own after the Steam Idle sale. But until I see you next time, toodles.